Live from the heart of the Blue Ridge, Roanoke, Virginia. It's the Just Bernard Show with host Bernard Alvarez. Join Bernard as he shares topics that reveal the real matrix and empower your human experience, including world liberty, the esoteric, suppressed technologies, spiritual ascension, and human consciousness. Humanity has awakened, and our time has come to realize our full potential. And now, live from the Star City, your host, Bernard Alvarez.
Anyway, so welcome to the Just Bernard Show here on the Bernard Alvarez channel, as well as on my Facebook page. So, what is it about the pineal gland and the third eye that I'm so crazy about? If you watched last week, I did talk a little bit about it, and we did do a little bit of a meditation at the end of last week's episode, or the week before. But I really wanted to go a little bit in depth about it. I've been talking about it for years, and there's a reason for that. The third eye and the pineal gland are near and dear to me in the sense that when I do a meditation, I find the vibration or the pressure within the third eye is what helps me to connect with my higher self and source consciousness. For me, it is a stepping stone as far as remaining, how do I say, in balance. It is a part of my daily meditation practice to at least simulate the third eye and awaken it and feel that connection with universal source consciousness. So, what is the pineal gland? We throw around those terms, the pineal gland and the third eye, and there's a reason for that as well. It is believed that the pineal gland houses the third eye, or the third eye houses the pineal gland, however you want to look at it. But what makes it so special is that the pineal gland is an endocrine organ. It is a real thing. It is not just a spiritual chakra energy center. The pineal gland is an actual organ, and it is in the endocrine system. It happens to be the last endocrine organ that was discovered, which I find to be very interesting. I can go into the whole symbology of it, but that's not what today's show is about. But I will say it does look like a pine cone, and you'll see pine cones throughout the world at spiritual places and spiritual centers around the world. So maybe they knew something that we didn't. Perhaps it's a symbol of connecting with higher consciousness in these places. The pineal gland itself is located deep within the brain. It's in the center of the brain. But our third eye, we always seem to imagine to be in the brow, between your two eyes. We always say it's like right about here. For me, it's behind that area, and we'll go more into that in a little bit. What makes the pineal gland so special? Well, guess what? It regulates your sleep. Why do you think it's so helpful to alter your state of consciousness? Your pineal gland regulates melatonin. Your pineal gland also happens to regulate your reproductive hormones and many other little things that they're not quite sure of. It is believed, even though it hasn't been proven yet, but it is believed that the pineal gland also has the ability to produce DMT, which we all know is a little bit of a medicine to help us alter our state of consciousness. However, that has not been proven. It is a theory that's been floating around. But either way, it produces melatonin. It regulates your reproductive organs and reproductive hormones. So it's something we want to give a little more attention to, especially when we are talking about balancing our energy centers. And the third eye itself, for me, explained it at the very beginning, but I'll explain it again. For me, the third eye is that bridge, that connection from the physical body to the spiritual, universal life consciousness energy. It I don't want to say it's where the higher self lives, but in my spiritual alchemy, I acknowledge the third eye as the communication device to connect with my higher self, and then of course the higher self connecting with all that is. Now, where does the third eye live? The third eye is a part of the chakra system. What is the chakra system, you might ask? I hope you all already know, but as if in case you don't know, I'll just remind you ever so quickly. The chakra centers are the spiritual homes of, how shall we say, it's the pathway for spirit to move through the body. And there are different energy centers lying within the body, starting with your root chakra down where you go relieve yourself and get rid of body waste, all the way going up to your crown chakra, which is the area that allows you to connect with universal life force, energy, chi, and or all there is, source consciousness and awareness. But these centers, if they are locked up, if they're out of balance, you're going to feel it. You can say in Reiki, as a Reiki master, for me, I believe that when chakras are locked up, it will affect the flow of natural life force energy and can disrupt the balance in your physical health, in your mental emotional health, and in your spiritual health. So when we're dealing with the lower chakras, we're talking more about physical body. Each of the chakras, if you begin to study them and go into learning more about them, they're all associated with particular organs. For example, the heart chakra. The heart chakra, however, most of these energy centers are not necessarily where that organ is. So the heart chakra lives in the center of the chest, but your heart is a little bit to the left. Same thing goes with the third eye chakra. It's believed it lives in the pineal gland, but the pineal gland is more to the center of the brain. So as you learn more about the chakras, you'll learn a little bit more about their placement. But it is important for me as an individual and in my spiritual path that I kind of acknowledge what's going on within my chakras. I have I'll never forget the first time I had a chakra balancing done. I was probably in my 20s. I want to say my late 20s. Yeah, my late 20s. Still a little bit of a party boy, but I was already involved in spirituality and whatnot. And, I guess the youthful, crazy, chasing the party wherever it goes type thing had me living in my head. And I just was not grounded ever. I was never grounded. And it was very interesting because the person who did this chakra reading or chakra balancing on me, they said, Bernard, you're floating up here. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, you're living outside of your body. You live in your head. And I'm like, why did you get that? She's like, you have no motion in your lower chakras. It means you're not grounded. They're locked up. So thank goodness they were able to do some work on that and kind of opened it up, and really was the beginning of everything that's happening in my life now. But it's a good example of how we can create imbalance, not realize it. Anyway, so we're going to be ending today's show, and we're nowhere near over, but we're about halfway through for today's show. But I wanted to let you all know that we will be doing a meditation, and more extended meditation than we did last week. I won't be so rushed. And we will be doing grounding and working through some of those chakras. And we'll be doing that in about 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So get yourself ready to relax and feel the experience. So the pineal gland, let's go back to the pineal gland a little bit. It is believed that the pineal gland calcifies over time. Now, yes, I'm sure a lot of alternative sites and conspiracy sites and whatnot talk about, fluoride calcifying it and whatnot. But whether that's true or not, the reality of it is that many things can calcify the pineal gland. especially not using it. When we're not doing exercises like we're doing today, it will calcify. It's just like any muscle. If you're not using it, it will begin to calcify. With that being said, the older you get, the more it'll calcify. It's believed that fluoride has the ability to calcify it. So please be aware of how much fluoride you ingest. There's this idea that perhaps there's fluoride in all the food and all the water and whatnot, because the elite are trying to suppress our greater consciousness. I wouldn't put it past them, but I'm not going to say it's a fact. But who knows? Better safe than sorry. Don't drink fluoridated water if you don't have to. Don't use fluoride on your teeth if you don't have to. Some people need to have fluoride in their teeth; they're lacking it. But be aware of what food you're eating. Be aware that even taking a shower, you're getting fluoride put in your body. Going to a restaurant, what are they boiling that pasta in? That water might have come from the tap that has fluoride in it. So there's fluoride all over the place, and we're probably ingesting it more than we think. It's not just toothpaste. So be aware of that. As well, your diet, you can help with a little bit of a healthier diet. As well, don't overdo specific minerals. Be aware of what minerals you do need. I'm not saying to stop taking them. By all means, if you need to take calcium, take calcium. If you need iron, take iron. But be aware of overdoing minerals, and don't take them if you're not lacking particular minerals. On the opposite end, be aware of distilled water. I know that's a bit of a thing right now in the alternative movement and the New Age movement and whatnot, that people are going to be drinking distilled water because they're afraid of fluoride. Well, distilled water will leach all of the minerals out of your body. So please do not do that. Distilled water is for your iron, not for you to drink. Start steaming your clothes. If you are going to drink distilled water, don't get me wrong, distilled water is wonderful if you add the minerals back into it. Add salt back into it, add sodium bicarbonate back into it, add potassium back into it. But it will leach all of the minerals out of your body. So please be aware of that and research it before you do something like that. And don't go overboard. Other ways to decalcify or to detox the pineal gland. Again, we're talking about the third eye. Other ways is regular meditation. And that's the number one way that I like to do it. There are other things that you can do to awaken your third eye. And of course, yes, I'm starting with meditation. Is learning how to cultivate silence. I know many people, actually a majority of the people I know, have a very difficult time working in silence, sitting in silence. They have to have the TV on in the background. They have to have the radio on in the background. They have to drive with the radio on. They can't stand silence. Now, I will admit, when I'm working, depending on the project I'm doing, I will have something on in the background. It depends on the project I'm doing. But most of the time, if I'm working, I like to have quiet. I need to be around quiet. If anything, I do like white noise. I'll admit I like to have white noise in the background because actually it silences all the other little noises that are going around. So just a nice little humming noise is nice. But going back to cultivating silence, if you are having a hard time with silence, with no sound, you need to ask yourself, what's going on? What is it about silence that makes one so uncomfortable? And if we're going to be cultivating silence within our lives in order for us to be able to quiet our mind, in order for us to awaken the third eye and do the actual work and walk the talk that we're talking about here, that so many of us say that we're doing and we're going to do and want to do, silence is a part of it, whether we like it or not. Learning how to sit in that meditative, quiet state of mind is the first step. It is the first step. Your ability to cultivate silence and to sit in this nothingness, in this no sound, no distractive sounds, is what elevates your senses, elevates the subtle energy senses. So what does that mean? If you're constantly in noise, if you're constantly with radio, if you're constantly with TV, and constantly with, being in a loud city, don't get me wrong, I had to move out of the city because I hated the noise of the loud city. And if you are, please utilize white noise. However, if we are constantly being stimulated, how are you going to sense the subtle energies? It is through sitting in silence that we learn how to gauge and well, to sense and be able to tell the subtle, slight differences. People believe there is this idea, some people believe that, paranormal, psychic, third eye, whatever, magic, witchcraft, whatever you want, whatever term you're using, that it's this profound, like spark of light and whatnot. It's not like that for everybody. And in your day-to-day life, if you're living magically, if you're walking the talk, if you're doing the practice in your day-to-day life, you're not going to have these gigantic epiphanies, and you're not going to see light shooting out of your fingertips or your third eye. That's not real. That's TV. That's Hollywood. That's, J.K. Rowling, the Lord of the Rings, that's not the way it is when you're actually living in this world and doing this work. Learn to cultivate the silence and learn to sense subtle energy. It's all about the subtle. It's not going to be in your face. As we cultivate that silence, as we learn to sit in silence and learn to pick up on those subtle energies, guess what begins to happen? We begin to listen to our body. We begin to listen to our gut. We begin to develop our intuition. When we're not constantly being bombarded with sounds and noises and thoughts, we begin to listen to our inner self, our higher self, our third eye self, and we begin to trust our intuition. This is how we cultivate intuition. If this is not where you are right now and you want to develop a relationship with intuition, try paying attention to your dreams. Try studying a little bit about perhaps lucid dreaming. Maybe try that out. Has anybody done lucid dreaming? It's one of my favorite things. I've been having them a lot lately, by the way. I don't know if I'm the only one. Weird dreams and very lucid. But get acquainted with your dreams, get acquainted with lucid dreaming, and perhaps even learn some form of divination. Pick up the tarot, learn how to do tarot, learn how to do a pendulum. Um, figure out something that you can develop a relationship with intuition. Where is intuition? Where does it come from? It comes from the third eye. And that's how we begin to see. That's how we begin to really, really see. These things take time. They're not going to happen overnight. And as well, once you do get them, if you're not practicing them, you're going to lose them. It's like a mind muscle. Yeah, you can get right back into the flow. But, what happens when you don't work out for 3 months? Your muscles are going to get soft. Same thing happens with all of these skills that you're practicing, and meditation and intuition and, whatever these practices we talk about. If you don't practice, actually, I'll do my spiel here. I always say, somebody said, well, how do you practice witchcraft? This was like 20 years ago. And eventually I ended up putting a sign over my head because people would always come to me and sit with me in my living room and listen to me talk, blah, 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 talk about the stuff like we're doing now. And I had a sign. I was like, if you want to practice witchcraft, you have to practice witchcraft. You have to practice. Just like an instrument, just like working out, just like a new skill, a new language, you have to practice. If you're not practicing, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. So it will take time, and you do need to practice. Sorry. And then back to the beginning, I talked about grounding ourselves, how I had my bottom chakras locked up and I had lost my grounding. I was my friend, the reader, had said I was living on top of my head. I wasn't in my body. And I guess that's kind of true. It's important for us to remain grounded because, and I don't want to say you have to be grounded 100% of the time. God knows I fly off the handle sometimes if I get anxious or if I'm overwhelmed or if I'm angry. You know, we're human beings. We're allowed not to be grounded all the time. However, these practices of intuition, these practices of, third eye meditations, out of body, whatever it is, magic, spirituality, all of these practices, while they can be very lofty, they can be very healing, they can be very peaceful, a lot of times if we are not grounded while we're doing that, while we're doing the exercise, and or we ground ourselves after the exercise, it can create an imbalance. One of the things that I've talked about in the past was when I had my shamanic vision quest, and I prepared as much as I could physically. And if those of you don't know, please go back and look at some of my older videos where I talk about it, or read the Book of One. But I had prepared physically as much as I could, and I had prepared, I guess, intellectually, for lack of a better term. But spiritually, I didn't know what to expect. And I would say, it's fair to say that I didn't know the part about grounding afterward. I had all my chakras blown open. I had met my spirit guides. I had, gotten the answers to the universe. But when it was time to go back to my day-to-day waking consciousness, I didn't really know how to ground myself. And it's fair to say that when that person who did the chakra reading on me, it was probably 3 or 4 years later, maybe more, I was probably still in that state of not knowing how to ground from all this information I had. Anyway, it creates what's called psychic whiplash. I call it psychic whiplash. So when we have these wonderful epiphanies, we have these wonderful connections, these universal connections, it's very important for us to learn how to reel it in and ground the energy back on earth. Let us come back to earth. And we're going to go through that today. If we don't, again, depression can kick in, anger can kick in. A lot of the positive things of third eye awakening are all positive: intuition, growth, whatnot. But if there's an imbalance, you will get symptoms of negative symptoms of third eye awakening, to being disoriented, being confused all the time, being depressed all the time, feeling like a victim, being that victim mentality, me, poor me, poor me. If we can ground that energy, we're not as vulnerable to these trains of thought. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and start the meditation in just a moment. If you're going to join me, you're more than welcome just to watch and be a lurker. But if you're going to participate, what I would like you to do is to please get into a comfortable position. I prefer to lay down. I know I'm sitting up, but when I'm doing like really hardcore third eye work, I prefer to lay down. I mean, if you can lay down, go ahead and lay down. Try not to fall asleep. If you're one that falls asleep, then don't lay down. Get your spine straight. If you're sitting in a chair, make sure your feet are touching the ground. If you can, if you have arms on your chair, put your palms upward. I don't think you can see me, but palms up. And take a moment to just be in this space and give yourself permission right now. Tell yourself, I'm giving myself permission to participate in this exercise for the next 10 minutes. Turn off your phone, close the window if it's loud outside, turn off the radio, turn off the TV, and pay attention and follow along. Let's go ahead and close our eyes. Now, I'm going to teach you some skills as we are doing this. So I'm going to be talking in between and working through this exercise with you. So I'd like you to close your eyes. And we're going to breathe in through our nose. Taking a deep breath in through your nose. Pause. And exhale. Okay, now what I'd like you to do with your palms up, I want you to close your eyes, take a deep breath in through your nose, but I want you to feel your belly. Do not expand your rib cage. Do not expand your chest. If you have to, put your one palm over the top, just underneath your rib cage, and we're going to feel the diaphragm, not the chest, okay? Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Inhale, feeling the diaphragm. Pause, 2, 3, and exhale. You'll notice the difference immediately when you take a breath in like this. It really automatically, for me, begins to slow the thought process down. So again, we're going to take a deep breath in, feeling our diaphragm. Breathe in through your nose, palms up. Pause. Exhale. Let's do one more. Deep, deep, deep. Breathe in through the nose. Deep, deep, deep. Pause. Exhale. Very good. And now return to your regular breathing rhythm, keeping your eyes closed. And just acknowledge your lungs breathing. Acknowledge the breath coming in through your nose. Acknowledge the breath filling your lungs, filling your diaphragm as you continue to breathe in your regular, natural rhythm. But just watch the breath. And now what I'd like you to do is imagine within your belly, just below the diaphragm, I'd like you to imagine a ball of light, a ball of bright golden light, about the size of a baseball. And with every breath you take, that ball of golden light gets brighter and brighter. As you breathe in life force energy, the ball of light gets brighter and brighter and spins faster, faster. Now what I'd like you to do is to allow these two little streams of energy to come down each of your legs, coming from that ball of light in your belly, going down your left leg, going down your right leg, going down past your knees, past your ankles, down into the ground, going down through the floor, down through the soil, down through the crust of the earth, going deeper and deeper, down toward the earth's core itself through the bubbling hot magma, down to the core of the earth, and wrapping around the earth's core these energy streams or roots that are coming down through your legs, wrap around the earth's core and mix with the energy around the core of the earth. And it might change color. You might see it turning a little more green or a little more brown or a little more red. However it appears to you, allow that mix of energy to mingle and begin to draw the energy back up through those roots, back up through the magma, back up through the floor beneath you, back up past your knees and up to your hips, and reconnecting and again mixing with that golden energy of that ball of light in your belly. And just feel yourself connected with the earth beneath you. Feel where you're sitting. Feel the surface you're sitting on or laying on. Feel your connection with the floor, where your feet are grounded, and how you are firmly rooted with the planet beneath your feet, remaining grounded. And now what I'd like you to do is we're going to shift our awareness. Now that we are rooted into the earth, I want you to shift your awareness to just above the top of your head. And just above the top of your head, there is another ball of light, another golden ball of light. And this one is about the size of, let's say a volleyball. And it too is spinning, and it too is very bright. And this ball of light begins to stream some energy down to the top of your head. And the energy moves down through your crown, moving down into your third eye, but moving past and going down through your throat, going down into your heart. And finally, connecting with that ball of energy in your belly that is mixing with the earth energy, is now going to be mixing with that universal life force energy, that cosmic energy that is being drawn down to the top of your head with every breath. Feeling you connected to the earth and to the cosmos, a channel for earth energy, a channel for universal energy. And just sit for a moment and allow your body to be filled with this energy as it vibrates out from the center of your belly. And I don't know if you saw last week, but last week we talked about vibrating and how vibrating and shaking the energy really gives it life. Not chanting, but vibrating, changing the frequency of the energy. So we're going to do Om, just a simple Om. So feeling the energy in your belly mixing with the energy that is grounded into the earth, grounded with the universal energy coming down through your crown, mixing with your energy. I'd like you to focus on that ball of light in your belly and take a deep breath, and we're going to do the Om. Again, focusing on that ball of light in your belly. Take a deep, deep breath with your palms up. Feeling that light vibrating through your body, feeling the energy vibrating through your body. We're going to do it one more time at the belly, taking a deep breath in through your nose. Wow, you can really feel that moving through the body now. Now what I'd like you to do is to bring your attention now up to your chest, up to your heart chakra, and allowing that energy to fill up the heart area, allowing the energy to fill the heart chakra. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to take a deep breath in with our palms up. Again, keeping focus on the heart center, taking a deep breath in through your nose, filling your belly. And one more time, focusing on the heart center, take a deep breath, filling your belly. Very good. Remaining with your eyes closed, I would like you to bring now that energy up to your throat, focusing on the throat chakra energy. And with every breath, we feel that energy, fill the ball of light, awakening the throat chakra as we take a deep breath in through our nose. Again, taking a deep breath with your palms up, focusing on the heart, the throat chakra center. Take a deep breath. One more time, focusing on the throat chakra center. Deep breath in. Very good. Now what I'd like you to do is to bring that energy, bring the focus up to your third eye. Feel that energy moving up from your belly, that energy that's intertwined with all the universal energy, all of the life force energy, all of the earth energy, and your own energy. And bring your attention to the third eye chakra center. With your palms up, take a deep breath in. Very good. And I'd like you to do it again, but this time as you're focusing on the third eye chakra center, I want you to visualize that pineal gland vibrating so hard that it's cracking away any calcification, any blockage, anything that is toxifying it, blocking it. Take a deep breath in. Very good. We're going to do it one more time, but this time I want you to feel the Om coming up from your throat and shaking through your head itself. Allow the vibration of the Om to go up into your skull, allowing your whole head to vibrate as you do this Om. Take a deep breath in. One more time. Deep breath in, palms up. Now just sit. Allow any images, sensations, or subtle energy to come through to you. Sense how you feel. Sense what you see. And just sit in this sensation for a few more moments. I'd like you to take a mental note of what you felt, what you saw. Take a mental note of this state of consciousness you're in. As I ask you to now slowly begin to return to your daily waking consciousness, bringing your attention to your feet on the floor, bringing your attention to whatever you're sitting on, the surface you're sitting on, bringing your attention to the room you're in, and finally bringing your attention to your fingers as you begin to wiggle your fingers. 3, slowly begin to open your eyes. 2, returning to your fully waking consciousness. 1. Namaste. Blessed be. Amen. Remember everything. You will remember everything. Now, boy, that was a lot longer than I thought, actually. It was about a 15 to 20 minute meditation, it seems like. That went by very, very quickly. I would highly recommend using this, using it daily, weekly. It's a great map. It's a wonderful map to help you to begin to connect with your intuition, begin to connect with your pineal gland and your third eye. And this practice will open doorways for you to other higher level practices as far as higher consciousness, shamanic practices, magical practices, and working with your higher self. Anyway, I'm going to leave you for now. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Happy holidays for those of you that are celebrating this week. And I'm not quite sure there will be a show next week. I forgot what's going on. I think there is actually, yes. There's only going to be like 2 more this year. Yeah, we'll have 2 more the first and second week of December. And then I'm going to take off for the holidays. Anyway, for Yule. I love you, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Please remember to subscribe if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel. If you would like, please become a patron. Join me on patreon.com. And also, if you want more and learn more about me, please go to bernardalvarez.com. I love you. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.